A violinist is suing Will Smith, claiming retaliation after he alleges that he was fired for reporting harassment while on tour with.
Earlier this year, I was hired to be a performer on a major tour with somebody who is huge in the industry. So I was excited, proud of myself for getting the opportunity. Unfortunately, some things happened, and I can't get into the details of exactly what that was. Because it's already a legal issue right now. But the reason why I'm speaking out about this is because getting fired or getting blamed or shamed or threatened or anything like that, simply for reporting misconduct or safety threats at work, is not okay. And I know that there's a lot of other people out there who have been afraid to speak up, and I understand. And if that's you, I see you.
For most of his career, Will Smith was Hollywood's golden boy, always careful not to risk that flawless image. But now, imagine it all falling apart, with allegations of misconduct surfacing and even family members speaking out about long-buried secrets. Will is facing controversies that could completely and permanently destroy both his career and personal life. So,
to all of you, there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment. I am deeply remorseful, and I'm trying to be remorseful without being ashamed of myself. I made a mistake, and I'm trying not to think of myself as a piece of.
When someone reaches Will Smith's level of fame, their decisions stop looking like anything an ordinary person would make. And back in 2008, Will and Jada made a move that didn't seem strange at the time, but looking back now, it raises a lot more questions than answers. That year, they founded the New Village Leadership Academy in Calabasas, California, pouring millions into the project. On paper, it sounded like the perfect vision, a modern private school for Hollywood's elite, built around creativity, discipline, and top-tier education. But as the years passed, unsettling details started coming out. The school wasn't being run like a normal institution. Its curriculum was reportedly built around study technology, a learning system created by the Church of Scientology. Teachers were said to have trained at Scientology's Celebrity Center, and classrooms allegedly displayed portraits of L. Ron Hubbard. Former staff later claimed the school operated like a Scientology facility in everything but name. By 2013, parents began pulling their kids out, and the academy quietly shut its doors. But that closure only made the questions louder. Why would someone as protective of his reputation as Will Smith risk being tied to one of the most controversial organizations in America? One theory that continues to circulate online is coercion. Scientology is infamous for its auditing sessions, private interrogations, where members reveal deeply personal secrets while hooked up to an e-meter. Those sessions are reportedly recorded and stored. Critics have long claimed the organization keeps compromising material as leverage, and over time, rumors began spreading that damaging recordings involving Will Smith allegedly existed, and that they may have been used to maintain influence over him. Whether any of it is true or not, those whispers refuse to go away, and they've only added more tension and suspicion to that strange chapter of Will Smith's life.
People that's being shopped around, a Diddy and another male, they say the other male is an A-list celebrity.
I would wonder if he's white or black. And if I'm looking at any black guys that are A-listers that's bigger than Diddy, there's only one that I could come up with. And there's a few I could come up with. Will Smith, he's bigger than.
At the same time, other details started catching people's attention. One of the biggest was Will's unusually close friendship with Dwayne Martin. Dwayne never came close to reaching Will's level of fame, yet he always seemed to be there at major events, in private settings, and deep inside Will's inner circle. To some, it looked like nothing more than normal Hollywood networking and elite friendships. But to others, the bond seemed far more intense than a typical friendship, almost too close to ignore. Quiet whispers began circulating that there might be more to the relationship, but those rumors never made it into the mainstream, largely because Will's team was known for tightly controlling the public narrative. And then there was the marriage itself. On the outside, Will and Jada appeared strong, even polished. But people started noticing something that didn't quite add up. Their interviews often felt scripted. Their chemistry sometimes seemed forced, like they were acting out a perfect relationship instead of actually living one.
You know, Esther Perel is coming to the table. She's going to be at the red table. Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I redefining our relationship?
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me.
Oh my goodness.
If you could film me.
Esther, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Because she don't just.
Would you say that she helped us heal the hurts that we caused between one another?
My social media presence is my bread and butter, okay? So you can't just use me for social media and not, don't just start I'm standing up.
Fast forward to around 2016, and that's when things reportedly took a major turn. Jada later admitted that was the year they began living completely separate lives. And that's not a normal marriage by any standard. The fact that she was willing to say it publicly only highlights just how messy and how broken their relationship had really become.
I was going through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And we decided...
I was done with your ass.
Yeah, you kicked me to the curb.
I was done with you.
Yeah.
Marriages have that, though. Marriages have that.
Yeah, we basically, we broke up.
We decided that we were going to separate for a period of time, and you go figure out how to make yourself happy, and I'll figure out how to make myself happy.
Well, at that particular point in time, it was indefinite.
Yeah, I really felt like we could be over. We were.
During the pandemic, Jada appeared on Red Table Talk and stunned viewers with what she revealed. She admitted to having an entanglement with August Alsina, claiming it happened during a period when she and Will were separated. She even suggested that Will had given his approval, something he awkwardly seemed to confirm during the same conversation.
There, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement with...
The whole moment was painful to watch, not just because of the affair, but because everything about it felt staged. It didn't come across like a raw, honest conversation. Instead, it looked more like a carefully scripted performance about marriage, forgiveness, and healing, designed for an audience. Viewers couldn't tell what was real and what had been curated. The word entanglement instantly turned into a meme, and people couldn't stop talking about how unnatural and awkward the exchange felt. But there's another layer that often gets overlooked. Back in 2016, the same year Jada later claimed their marriage essentially ended, she also led the Oscars, so white protest, and publicly boycotted the ceremony. Years later, at the 2022 Oscars, Chris Rock openly joked about that boycott on stage. And things get even more uncomfortable when you factor in the rumors that Chris Rock allegedly asked Jada out once divorce talks started circulating. Whether that's true or not is still unclear, but the rumor alone adds context, because that joke may have hit deeper than people realized. Will's reaction might not have been only about a comment on Jada's appearance. It could have been the explosion of years of unresolved tension, public humiliation, and complicated personal history that outsiders never fully understood.
My queens out there that have been cheated on by their men, it's not your fault. Stop making it your fault. To my kings out there that have been cheated on by their women, stop making it your fault. Yes, women cheat too. Now here's the other thing. This is one of the strongest forces in the universe that we have to deal with. This is about self-mastery. It's not even about what's going on in a relationship. This is about self-mastery.
After the Oscars, the situation didn't die down the way Will's team probably hoped it would. Instead, it opened the floodgates. People who had stayed silent for years suddenly started speaking up. One of them was Tisha Campbell, formerly married to Dwayne Martin, someone who had long been part of Will's inner circle. She made comments that seemed to hint that hidden truths about Dwayne and Will's relationship would eventually come to light. And just like that, speculation many thought was long buried came roaring back. Then another name resurfaced, Brisha Gray, the Empire actor whose past connections to Will raised even more uncomfortable questions. With all these voices suddenly reappearing, it started to feel like the fallout wasn't ending at all. If anything, it was just beginning, and the deeper stories were finally starting to push their way into the spotlight.
He's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love, and all he has to do is add discipline.
Brisha later suffered a public meltdown, during which he spoke about the industry and claimed that certain things happening behind the scenes were destroying him.
They can do anything. It's just like, I'm not normal no more. being a celebrity sometimes comes with, like, everybody wants to be successful in a celebrity and stuff like that, but it comes with, you know, sometimes, and to allegations is kind of crazy.
This is extremely heavy material, and much of it is difficult to verify, but when multiple voices start echoing similar claims, it becomes harder to dismiss entirely. And then there's Jaguar Wright, who has made some of the most explosive allegations about Hollywood's power circles, describing rituals and a darker side of the industry that most people never see or even understand.
All that he talked, he say nothing about Bashir. He played his television father.
Right.
He was on set. He saw what Charlie Mack and them were doing. He knew they were taking those young boys to Diddy. They all...
Whether people accept every detail or not, she's clearly part of a story that's still unfolding. But the most pivotal figure in all of this is Bal Salam. If that name doesn't ring a bell, here's why it matters. Bal claims he was Will Smith's childhood friend, growing up with him in Philadelphia long before fame, back when Will was just a kid with big dreams. Over time, that friendship reportedly became professional, with Bal stepping in as Will's personal assistant, giving him access to private moments and spaces few outsiders ever saw. Today, Bal is considered one of the most significant threats to Smith's reputation and possibly even his freedom. In December 2024, he filed a $3 million lawsuit against Jada. But that may only be the tip of the iceberg. What Bal has revealed in legal filings and media appearances since then raises deeply unsettling questions and challenges nearly everything the public thought they knew about Will Smith.
This is unlike him, right? So I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having angst with Will.
Let me process that for a second.
There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up, killing him. Like, it was murder in there.
In late 2023, Bailey appeared on Unwind with Tasha K and shared statements that many found hard to ignore. He didn't frame them as distant rumors. Instead, he presented them as first-hand observations involving Will Smith and his longtime friend, actor Dwayne Martin. Bal claimed he personally witnessed interactions between the two, describing them as recurring patterns rather than isolated incidents or misunderstandings. While the explicit details were unsettling, the real weight of his account came from the certainty and authority with which he spoke, treating his words as testimony, not speculation. On top of that, Bal repeated claims that had quietly circulated in media circles for years, but had never been confirmed by someone with such close access. He referenced a crude and humiliating comparison allegedly aimed at emasculating Will, using it as an example of the power dynamics he claimed existed. Whether true or not, these revelations carried extra weight because they came from someone who said he had repeatedly been present behind closed doors.
It was the woman that everybody wanted, and Will needed that validation to have that type of woman.
You saw her say that Will Smith had a small dick?
So I am saying to you, if a woman is used to something the size of a baby leg and you come in with a pinky toe, there's nothing you can do to please her. You can buy her 80 cars, you can get her 80 private jets. If she's itching for that baby leg, she want that baby leg. You can beat a person so much that they fall into some...
Now, I'm not here to say what's true and what isn't. That's for the courts to decide. But what I can tell you is that Bal isn't the only one speaking out. In January 2026, another lawsuit surfaced. The plaintiff, Brian King Joseph. You might know him from America's Got Talent. He was a finalist and a violinist with serious talent. In 2024, he was hired to join Will Smith's tour. What he's alleging, however, is serious. According to reports, Brian claims Will Smith engaged in predatory behavior, deliberately grooming and preparing him for what Brian describes as potential exploitation. Brian alleges that Will told him, and I quote, "You and I have such a special connection that I don't have with anyone else." At first glance, that might sound like a compliment, but viewed in the context of these allegations, it fits a classic grooming pattern, making someone feel special, creating a sense of obligation, and lowering boundaries so that future advances become harder to resist.
have power, people take advantage of it. People know that they can just dangle a carrot in your face. Well, they don't know. They assume that, okay, because I'm Will Smith and because I'm an A-list actor celebrity, then you are going to drop and do whatever it is that I say, and I can help build you opportunities. And hey, you're a violinist and you're on tour.
But the most disturbing part of the story happened in Las Vegas in March 2025. Brian was on tour, staying at a hotel, when he noticed that his tour bag and hotel room key had gone missing. Hours later, both were returned, but when he entered his room, he discovered clear signs that someone had been inside without permission. What was left behind is what makes this so unsettling. First, there was a handwritten note signed Stone F, allegedly an alias linked to Will Smith or someone in his inner circle. The note read, "Brian, I'll be back no later 5:30. Just us, Stone F." The phrase "just us" implies an expectation of intimacy. Then there were other items: wipes, an empty beer bottle, and a bottle of HIV medication with someone else's name on it. Think about the implications of that last item, HIV medication belonging to someone else left in the room of a person who was allegedly being targeted. Brian reported the incident to hotel security and to Will Smith's management team. Instead of support, he says he was accused of fabricating the entire event, and shortly after, he was fired. According to his lawsuit, he suffered PTSD as a result. He claims he lost income, opportunities, and momentum in a career that had been on the rise. If that wasn't enough, there are other moments that made people uncomfortable, particularly involving Will and Jaden. In 2013, while promoting After Earth in Thailand, Will and Jaden appeared on a local television show. In a clip that has resurfaced repeatedly, Will grabbed his then 14-year-old son by the head and forced a kiss on his lips, something Jaden clearly did not want.
I can kiss my son. I can kiss my son. That's Jaden. Come on.
Are you okay?
You can see it in Jaden's reaction. His body language screams rejection. And this wasn't just a one-time thing. Reports later surfaced that Will allegedly attempted something similar on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
I love him, Ellen. I love him.
So, this isn't just a one-off cultural misunderstanding. This appears to be a pattern. Why does it matter now? Because everything is being examined through a new lens. Once the grooming allegations surfaced, people began re-watching these old clips. What once seemed like an overly affectionate dad now takes on a different meaning. It starts to look like a consistent disregard for physical boundaries, treating younger people under his influence as props for his public image, rather than as individuals with their own autonomy.
Kids, and you love them and you're proud of them. You just want to kiss them in their mouth sometimes.
We'll have to get you over that. Next time you're here, I got you in my underwear. I'm going to get you some.
No, I shouldn't have told her.
I'm going to get you some ice.
No, my baby boy, he's never leaving me, ever. Ever. No emancipation.
At just 15, Jaden asked to be an emancipated minor. He wanted to legally separate from his parents, to get away from whatever was happening in that house. In the years since, his behavior has often seemed chaotic. He wore skirts in high-profile campaigns, tweeted bizarre philosophical thoughts, and spoke about things like Twilight and hunting vampires. Will publicly celebrated all of this as fearless, but Jaden recently shared something that changed the perspective entirely. He wrote, "All the weird stuff you've ever seen me do was me thinking I was totally normal. So now sometimes I try to act weird on purpose. So y'all think it's on purpose, but at the end of the day, I've been trying to fit in this whole time, and I guess it's not exactly going to plan." That isn't a statement of a fearless artist, it's the confession of a young kid who grew up so disconnected from a normal human experience that he didn't even know what normal looked like anymore. When you start piecing it all together, the forced kisses, the Scientology school, the emancipation request, and Jaden's own admission that his strange behavior was a cry for help, you have to wonder what was really going on in that household.
They do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills, Bashir Gray, left that house.
Now let's go back to the time Will Smith was filming Ollie. According to comedian Paul Rodriguez, who co-starred in the movie, something about Will's personality changed during that period. Paul has described the set as a nightmare. He claims Will underwent a transformation, becoming abusive, cruel, and the complete opposite of the charming guy the public knew. Paul suggested that steroids were reportedly used to bulk up for the role could have contributed, calling it classic roid rage. He said Will would take out his anger on him, treating him terribly, all because of an incident involving the real Dr. Freddie Paccio, whom Paul was portraying in the film. The real Dr. Paccio had allegedly insulted Will with racial slurs. Unable to confront Dr. Paccio directly, Paul says Will vented his frustration on someone he could control, the actor who needed the job and couldn't fight back. And this isn't just old gossip. The current situation around Westbrook Incorporated, the media company founded by Will and Jada, adds another layer. Glassdoor reviews from former employees describe toxic management, a hostile work environment, and a culture driven by the founders' egos, where no one is allowed to push back. Then there's a lawsuit from a female producer who settled a claim against a Westbrook-affiliated entity. She alleged she was marginalized by what she described as a male entourage and was fired after raising complaints about the toxic culture. While it didn't get the mainstream attention of other scandals, it paints a picture of a company that isn't just mismanaged, it's actively hostile toward its own staff. This fits a larger pattern. For years, stories about working with Will Smith didn't match the nice guy image. And his situation isn't happening in isolation, it reflects a bigger shift in Hollywood culture. Celebrity culture itself is changing, and many of the old rules no longer apply. Think about the last few years. The Diddy scandal exposed some of the darker sides of Hollywood party culture, and suddenly creepy became the word of the moment as more people came forward with stories about what allegedly happened behind the scenes. And once one domino falls, others tend to follow.
I saw a guy on the internet the other day who said he used to be your security guard, who said that when you were dating J-Lo, Will Smith and Jada tried to pick her up on a threesome and you were going to beat up Will Smith. Is that true?
The public just isn't buying the celebrity image anymore. We've passed the days when a charming interview could make everyone overlook allegations. We're past the point where a charitable foundation or a carefully worded apology can wipe the slate clean. So what do you do when your public image starts crumbling? Lawsuits are stacking up, and public trust has vanished. If you're Will Smith, it seems the answer is to try staging a comeback.
Don't realize that one bad night is up 10.
In early 2025, we'll try to make a big comeback with a new album, but the reaction was underwhelming. Critics and fans called it corny, and the whole release felt more like an attempt to manufacture relevance than a genuine artistic statement. The music didn't chart, and after all the hype and anticipation, it basically vanished. 2 decades between albums, and the result was something most people didn't want to hear.
He dropped the album. He's
Yeah.
back. It's called Based on a True Story.
I'm gonna be honest, I will never listen to.
Then came the single Pretty Girls, released to promote the album, and it flopped. On YouTube, it racked up a 60% dislike ratio. Critics dismissed it as a midlife crisis in song form, and people mocked the lyrics, turning the track into a meme. That's not exactly the kind of attention you want when you're trying to rebuild your reputation. But Will didn't stop there. He reportedly reached out to big names in the music industry, Jay-Z, Kendrick Lamar, and others, hoping to gain advice and credibility with younger audiences. Whether those conversations actually happened or what was said remains unclear. But the fact that he felt the need to seek help speaks volumes about just how desperate the situation had become. Next came collaborations with KSI, XQCI, and Brook Monk, artists with strong followings among the younger demographic Will had lost touch with. The strategy was clear: attach himself to their audiences, hoping some of their cool factor would rub off and help restore his relevance.
Good. That's a funny ass clip, but we good.
Yeah, no, because like old people is cheap.
Yeah, that
you can't do, because old people, they're like,
yeah, that
inherently funny.
It's true. They do a lot of funny,
people
stupid,
really
stupid stuff, man.
I'm gonna wipe it down real quick.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're holding it down, though.
We're holding.
The KSI collaboration was, well, very questionable. They released a song together, and it was obvious it was an attempt to stay relevant by linking up with someone 20 years younger. People called it a publicity stunt, and honestly, it felt like two artists who had no natural chemistry being forced together by their teams. Then there was the King's Cross Station stunt. In June 2025, Will showed up at the busy London train station and performed his old hits 90s Fresh Prince material. The goal was clearly to recapture some of that old magic, to remind people where it all began. But the crowd looked completely dead. And here's what really sours the whole comeback attempt. Reports say his team dumped money into social media algorithms, trying to force his content into people's feeds. The entire effort just came across as sad and desperate. That's the thing about the entertainment industry. It trains people to sell a version of themselves that isn't real. It rewards the performance and punishes authenticity. Will Smith has always been a master of performance. Maybe he performed so well that he lost sight of who he really was. Or maybe he knew exactly who he was and just hid it behind the performance. That's the real question, isn't it? Let me know what you think about this mess Will Smith has created. And I'll see you in the next video.